Monday. And so we first went to the DPO's office that morning to be very sure of what we're hearing and to have the first-hand information as to what had happened, because the family had told us that it was an unprovoked situation where this gunshot emanated and killed our colleague. And we're able to confirm that story, which was very important for us from the DP. He had said, to cut a long story short, that it was misuse of firearms. That's what all the police officers at the scene of the crime had stated. So we were satisfied with that, because we don't want a situation where excuses and defenses will be made. For him to say that it was a wrongful use of firearms, that was okay with us. So we got that, and then we went to the family, visited the family, consoled the husband, and gave them our words that the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, having called the AIG, the Commissioner of Police, the CJ, the Attorney General of the state, to indicate that the NBA is ready to prosecute and to do whatever is reasonable to ensure that maximum punishment is meted out, and adequate compensation is also offered to the family as well. And so the family, as well known on that day, they were still very much in a very bad mood. The husband could hardly still speak. All right, and so we proceeded from there to the Commissioner of Police. We had the same conversation this time around with very long deliberations and some form of resolutions, I must say, because going forward we need to do much more in order that this kind of incident will not occur. And so he affirmed that position. We gave him certain deadlines, which he said they are going to surpass those deadlines. For instance, we said within a week or two, we want this man to be arraigned and all of that. Although they have their internal disciplinary process, but he assured us that that will not be any point to delay a trial in this particular matter, and that was what was done, because within 24 hours, he was able to make his recommendation to the IGP and then the Police Service Commission for the suspension of the suspect. So that being said, the Nigerian Bar Association, the president, and constituted a committee, which I believe that today will be publicized, and the committee will take it up and formally begin to brief Nigerians what we had doing. The whole of yesterday was actually spent on this matter as well. We were at the last for the postmortem, the autopsy of our deceased colleague with the family. We were also at the AG's office because of the remand order that has been given for the suspect, and to also have a better coordination and synergy with the AG's office. And again, the other story of the young man, Garafo, came on board as well. Because I also live around this axis, the Lekki axis, and I'm also very competent with the Etiosa Lawyers Forum, another lawyers body that is doing tremendous work here when it comes to intervention, legal intervention. We were called on that day, I think on the 6th or 7th, we were called that a certain young man is said to have been killed, and I had to call immediately my alternate chair, which is incidentally the vice chair of the Etiosa Lawyers Forum here, and he lives within that access, and I just called him, so please, I just heard this. Can you go around and talk with the DPO what is happening? Because what we do is to see how we can have a working relationship with DPOs when they come around, so that if there's any need for us to intervene when there are human rights abuses, we just do that. information that the DPO had said that they are ready to work with the family, but the family is not ready. They decided that they would have to take the calls, and they don't want to give statements and all of that. He tried to persuade them to get to the family, to no avail. So that's how that particular matter did not really have this kind of momentum. But we had done everything humanly possible. The NBA is still working and continue to work. We got home at about 7 yesterday, 7 p.m. from 6 a.m. In the morning, because the president was with us using calls. The vice president of the Nigerian Bar Association, the first vice president, had come in from Gombe yesterday as well for us to make all of this movement possible. So that's to show the commitment of the Nigerian Bar Association to ensure that justice is not only done but speedily done in this case, and so many others.
Well done, Mrs. Abie. Well done, well done. I would want to advise other associations, whether the surveyors, whether even to the bus drivers association, to follow the pattern of the NBA. When you lose a member, it could be the the labor organization, you know, that when it would have a greater impact when associations begin to intervene and not just leave the fight in these kind of matters to the family. Is somebody that probably, because people will say, oh, it's because they are lawyers, but no, they could have been surveyors or architects or doctors, or, you know, let associations start getting involved in this kind, and I'm sure this kind of it will be more difficult to sweep it under the rug. I want to really appreciate you, ma'am, and I also want to appreciate the Nigerian Bar Association, which I'm also a member, and may her soul rest in peace.
Our sincere condolences for your loss.
Thank you very much, ma. And you can go back to rest, because I knew yesterday that you were really tired.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you, ma.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
All right. Bye, ma.
Okay.
So it's a total tragedy, and this is the problem why we have more unreported cases than reported cases. You know, between is it August 2020 to May 2020 to August 2021, the Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency reported about 3,000 or 4,001 reported cases. The unreported cases must be like 40,000.
Honestly.
And when people continue to sweep issues under the rug, the family will say they don't want any. Then you die as if you never lived. No memory, nothing, no lesson for others to learn from, nothing. And it emboldens the perpetrators because they see that there is no consequence to what they have done. May her soul rest in peace. Let us go back into our segment, and it is questions and answers, please.
And we already have so many calls, messages pouring in. Before I came in, we're taking some phone calls, so I'll begin with WhatsApp and Twitter before I get back to phone lines. Tari from Ikeja has a situation that he needs your advice on. He says, I just saw that Tari said I should keep him anonymous. I'm so sorry, Tari, I didn't see that earlier because you put your name. So when you want to be anonymous, don't put your name. So for that, I will come back to your message much later. Hopefully, you will get lost and nobody will know that from you. I'm so sorry about that. Happy New Year in advance to Uyi and my boss, Barrister Lumide. This is from another texter. I want to ask for people to learn based on my encounter with 3 single parent ladies this week. What should single mothers do when their ex or unmarried father of their children denies the child as his or refuses to be committed to upkeep responsibility of the child? From your passionate volunteer, Ayo from Lagos.
Morning. If a father denies paternity, denies that he is the father, You see, you can't really force a father to be a father. You can't force a man. You see, there's a difference between man and father, and woman and mother. You cannot force a man to be a father. They deny paternity because they don't want to take responsibility. There's really little you can do except you want to go to the courts and order a DNA and get the court, like I did one time with the father, with the mother of my child. The court ordered a DNA. We did the DNA, and the child that she brought was not mine. So the DNA proved it. We did it twice. Then there is a big issue, and this is the weakness that I have, and that is trying to help fathers pay for upkeep. When people call me that they have 3 children, the man is not paying for upkeep. They are, there's a serious flaw in our legal system in this regard. Abroad, child support is a criminal law. You can go to jail when you do not pay child support. It is a criminal offense. But here in Nigeria, it is not as so. You see the way, they flout the orders, even when the courts tell you pay so. It is flouted, and there is really nothing you can do. So, these are some of the things that need to be looked into, especially child welfare. The fathers, there's a bank manager that said, well, he earns 50,000. He's a bank manager, and said, well, what he can give for 3 children is 40,000 naira monthly. 3 children.
Interesting.
And the mother has
I want to believe these 3 children are going to school.
They went to court, and then, you have some things like, well, that's how much you can, they try to make it 50. How can you make it 54? But that is a serious flaw. So before you give birth for somebody, please think twice. Is he a man or is he a father?
Good question.
Happy
New Year. I want to ask. This person says that he gives his girlfriend daily money of 1K and still sorts some of her bills, not also forgetting taking her out to eateries and lounges sometimes. In all these, she still feels that he's not ready or he's delaying their wedding date, even though he really wants it more than her. Says he's a transporter, in brackets private car hire, but she thinks that he's not doing enough to go see her people to do the needful. His close friends have advised him to stop the financial charity to his girlfriend so as to save for the marriage. He's asking what you think.
I have mentioned this, that being in a relationship is not a federal assisted project. It is not a financial project. So you don't start a relationship by giving money. You don't start by taking up responsibilities that parents should take. You are not a parent. She's not working for you. You should be with someone who works, not a liability that you have to be giving money every day. This will give you problems in future. You can't even start. In fact, I'm already discouraged from your relationship hearing this. How do you start like that? Do you think you can maintain this velocity for the rest of your life, giving everyday upkeep? Then when a child comes, what would you do? You give everyday upkeep again. It doesn't make sense.
All right, let's take some phone calls. 1 minute when you call, please. 99.3, good morning. Please turn off your radio. Thank you. Good morning. How are you? I'm sorry, your name is John?
James.
James, apologies.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Yes. Oh, we're so happy.
Glad to hear from you.
Oh,
Sorry.
wow. Thank God. You have 1 minute, please. Go ahead.
Okay, my question, a quick one is, what will you advise for people who are in a relationship, as it is the lady is doing better off financially compared to the guy? She is asking for the guy to relocate from where he is to where she is so that they can start up a family. So quickly, take your opinion with respect to that.
Is it that the man does not have a residence? No. Where does the man live?
Does he have his own house?
Where does the man live? Where does the man live? He has a house. He has a... Okay, there is usually problems like this when the woman is staying in a 3-bedroom and the man is probably staying in a self-contained, and the woman will say, would I leave my 3-bedroom to come and live in the self-contained? But there is also a problem where you see, when a woman is earning more, then you need to follow character, because I've seen a woman who does not allow the man rest. That, you know, you are living in my house. You know, everything seems to be so well. In as much as I will not tell a woman that, okay, move out of your 3-bedroom flat to the self-contained, or, you know, but if you can be, if it can be, should I say, she can be humble about it. Because what I would do as a man, I would want the woman to come to my place, because it is my job to shelter a woman. It is my job to provide shelter. But if my shelter cannot take a family, then, you know, I just have to also be humble about this and not arrogant. Do you understand? So it's not really a taboo, it's just understanding.
Thank you so much, James.
Thank you, as I believe in God.